On behalf of the House Republican Conference, I rise today to nominate the gentleman from Louisiana, Mike Johnson, as Speaker of the People's House.
3 weeks after a small group of rebels ousted Speaker Kevin McCarthy, Republicans have finally united behind a replacement.
It was a process of elimination, also a process of pure exhaustion. They had been through so many different candidates. There were so many different factions that were torpedoing each other's candidates.
Let the enemies of freedom around the world hear us loud and clear. The People's House is back in business.
With a little help from the former president.
Thank you very much, and I just want to congratulate Mike Johnson. He will be a great Speaker of the House, and we were very happy to help. This time yesterday, nobody was thinking of Mike, and then we put out the word, and now he's the Speaker of the House.
I don't believe there are any coincidences in a matter like this. I believe that Scripture, the Bible, is very clear that God is the one that raises up those in authority. He raised up each of you, all of us.
The new Speaker is an evangelical Christian, a former lawyer who was first elected to Congress in 2016, a mild-mannered hardliner.
And Mike Johnson is a conservative, and so the conservatives are happy, but he seems like a nice guy, so the moderates are happy.
I mean, people have said that he's the type of fellow who would hold the door open for you if you're walking. But I think what really matters are his policy positions and his political affiliations.
Just gave me.
Earlier this year, Mike Johnson shared an old recording of a TV appearance from 2001, where he and his wife explained why they entered a covenant marriage, an unusual legal arrangement intended to make divorce more difficult.
We like to know for sure that that it's going to be for a lifetime, and just the security in that, to know that Mike is willing to make that kind of lifetime commitment to me.
Mike and Kelly Johnson have been leading together on faith, family, and freedom for nearly a quarter of a century.
These days, the couple promotes their political and religious beliefs on a podcast, including support for a national abortion ban.
We can never forget that more than 63 million innocent lives were taken during the 49 years that Roe was the law of the land.
The new Speaker's long-held views on gay rights are also being picked over. In 2004, he suggested same-sex marriage could be a dark harbinger of chaos and sexual anarchy that could doom the country.
Mr. Speaker, good to see you, sir.
Thanks, Sean. Welcome to Capitol Hill.
In his first interview as Speaker, Mike Johnson seemed keen to play down the potential impact of those views.
But here's the thing. Everybody comes to the House of Representatives with deep personal convictions, but all of our personal convictions are not going to become law.
The new Speaker is not keen to dwell either on the role he played in efforts to challenge the outcome of the 2020 election. Mr. Johnston espoused voting machine conspiracy theories and promoted a lawsuit seeking to overturn the results.
Mr. Johnson, you helped lead the efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Will you
Next question.
He's a constitutional attorney, and that is what I believe that our nation is so desperate for, because we are a nation of laws, not of men.
Louis Avallone heads up the local Republican Party in Mike Johnson's Louisiana district.
So how does what you've just said square with the stance he took following the 2020 election?
Oh, it's completely in line with that, because what he was interested in and what he was assisting with was making sure that the states were following their own election laws. And so that squares just right on point with who Mike is.
Mike Johnson is now one of the most powerful figures in the country, second in the line of succession to the presidency. But he faces many of the same issues as Kevin McCarthy. Republicans don't control the White House, they don't control the Senate, and they have only a slim majority in the House. And that means if he doesn't notch up some early wins, he could face the same fate as his predecessor.
It's going to be a big learning curve. He's not a complete babe in the woods, but he's not also a wily veteran either, so he's somewhere in the middle.
On the Speaker's agenda, an urgent funding request from Joe Biden, which bundles money for Israel, Ukraine and the AUKUS Pact. The new Speaker must also lead negotiations on government funding to avoid a shutdown later this month.
Do you think someone like that can make compromises with the Democrats?
I do think that he is better able to make compromises with the Democrats because he does have the trust of the right wing. So I do think that they'll give him some leeway to make these very important compromises to keep the government running.
And he'll have to navigate the all-important relationship with his mercurial benefactor.
I think he's a Christian conservative who is, while supportive of the president, certainly is not taking his marching orders from Donald Trump. Trump's got his own problems.
I think the lack of experience for Donald Trump is actually a plus. I mean, Mike Johnson's failure as Speaker will be Donald Trump's success as a candidate. That is the way Donald Trump views it. If the U.S. Congress fails, if Joe Biden fails, if America fails, Donald Trump wins.
The challenge before us is great, but the time for action is now, and I will not let you down.